Welcome to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesars Sportsbook. I'm Katie Mox, and coming up on today's show, the NFL season is just 1 month away, and you won't believe which teams are bringing in the most money to have the best record at Caesars Sportsbook. Plus, we'll preview the AFC South and take a look at some overs and unders in that division, and of course, I will give you my Mox Locks. But before we get started, let's bring in Danny Brasco. Danny, how's it going?
It's going great. Awesome weekend of betting UFC. Big money in some fights. Ooh. So feeling great coming into Monday. Let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling. I'm excited to hear that. And I feel like I'm actually rolling on, I don't even know what right now, because I took a red eye last night. So I'm rolling on fumes, if you will. All right. So Danny, stay right there. Let's get into my Mox thought of the day. Like I just said, we're exactly 1 month away from the NFL season starting, and I, for one, could not be more excited. So let's take a look at the odds for the best regular season record. You got the Bucks at plus 250, the Bills tied there, plus 250, Packers at plus 350, the Chiefs at plus 400, and the Rams also at plus 400. However, according to Caesars Sportsbook, here are the top 5 teams with the most money in this category. We got the Colts at plus 2,000, Chargers decent, plus 1,500, Eagles at plus 2,500, the Panthers at plus 25,000, and the Bills, the favorite, at plus 250. All right, so who should you put your money on to have the best record? I still think it's going to be the Bills this year. You guys already know I am high on the Bills. I believe that they're going to have the best record. When I look at them right now, according to Warren Sharp football analysis, the Bills have the 18th toughest strength of schedule this year, so it's pretty moderate there in the middle, and they have the highest projected win total at 11.86. I love this. I mean, last year, both the Packers and the Bucks tied for the best record, both 13-4, 2020 season and 2019. You know, the Chiefs went 14-2. The Ravens went 14-2. I feel like it's going to be another 13-4 season. And I think the Bills have the best odds in order to do that. I know it's at plus 250, but I still think that the Bills are going to take this category. But if we're looking for a long shot here, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. And I know what you're thinking, Mox, you're a Niners fan. And of course, if I'm going to take a long shot, I'm going to take a bigger look at the Niners here. I feel like the NFC West teams, for as good as that division has been for several years, it has gotten a little bit weaker. There's no Russell Wilson in Seattle. There's no Chandler Jones in Arizona. We got D-Hop out for 6 weeks, so that's going to hurt Arizona, who had a great record last year. And there's no OBJ in LA, and Stafford dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury right now. I think the Niners have improved their secondary. If Lance is half as good as what all of the hype is, I think that the Niners have a pretty good shot here. So I like them at plus 1,500. Okay, let's keep things moving here into Capper's Corner and bring back Danny Brasco. Danny, you heard what I had to say about who has the best odds to have the best record and who I like as a long shot. You know, I went with my San Francisco 49ers. What are you liking?
Katie, I'm on the same page as you with the Buffalo Bills. We're in Bills Mafia this year. Give me a fedora and sunglasses, and let's rent a condo in Buffalo, because I'm all in on Josh Allen and that team. It feels like they lost on Hall of Fame mode. If anyone's ever played Madden or 2K or any of these sports games, they got to that final boss with the Chiefs, and it's like the game just makes you lose because it's on the hardest difficulty, and the coin toss loses it. That was the last step they needed to go over. And that's my Madden analogy for any Madden players out there. I think they'll appreciate it. Just feels like that's it. Once they cross that, threshold, then they're Super Bowl champs. And I'm expecting Josh Allen to make his MVP bid. I actually might wait till the middle of the season to bet this, because you were talking about the strength of schedule. It's harder up front. In the first 8 weeks, they play some really good teams. The second half of their schedule is a cakewalk. There are some bad teams mixed in there. Very winnable games for the Bills. So if they start maybe, 500 or, even just a couple games over 500, I'm going to want to get this maybe at better plus money odds later on in the season if it looks like they aren't starting out so hot as we expected. So that'll be my strategy to bet the Bills, but I'm with you. I think they finish somewhere around 13-4 and have the best record in the league.
Okay, who do you like for a long shot?
All right, long shot. Your Niners take was pretty bold. I'm going to go with one that you guys have alluded to on other episodes of this show. I like the Ravens to maybe have a real good season with, like Kenny Betts Big has said, Lamar Jackson in his contract year. Maybe he shows out in this year. Look, they were decimated by injury last year. They lost their entire backfield, both quarterbacks, every single running back you ever heard of. And even still, they were tough to play. Tyler Huntley almost beat the Green Bay Packers by himself. So that defense is going to be scary to face as usual, always pretty vaunted. Lamar, like I said, contract year. And look, they're in a weaker division now as well. The Browns are not going to have Deshaun Watson. The NFL is appealing to see if they can get him the whole year banned, so he might not play at all. The Steelers lost Big Ben. The AFC North teams usually play in straight up like trench warfare. I mean, it's just absolute battle. I think the Ravens could get over on these teams a little easier this year. So I see their floor at somewhere around like 10-7, and I think they could be as good as potentially 13-4 even. So I like the Ravens for a long shot to have a chance to maybe have the best record.
The Ravens are my favorite long shot across the board. They're my favorite long shot to win the Super Bowl. I believe that's at plus 2,000. I like this bet as well for the best record. I like Lamar as a long shot for MVP. I think because they were decimated with injuries last year, a lot of people are kind of giving up on them and forgetting what a good team this is. So for a long shot, I think it's a great one.
And they're just so scrappy. Like, they're going to play for your money. You always, if you take a long shot, you take a big underdog, you want them to play with heart. The Ravens do that every single game.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into the AFC South. Here are the odds to win the division. You got the Colts at minus 120, the Titans at plus 160, the Jaguars at plus 700, and the Texans at plus 3,000. Who are you taking to win the division?
I'm going to take the chalk. Let's go with the Colts to take it. The Colts haven't won the division in a while, Katie. It's about time they did. And, man, they got to be playing this season with a chip on their shoulder. They missed the postseason last year by losing the last regular season game to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The destiny was in their own hands. They had to beat the Jaguars. Couldn't do it to get into the postseason. Colts are a good team. I was talking about playing with heart, playing scrappy. Oh, yeah. Colts do that every single year. So Frank Reich, their head coach, I got to feel like, he's a good guy, very clever coach. I like him a lot. After losing in that fashion, it's got to feel like your job's on the hot seat. So I'm expecting them to come in guns blazing to start the year. They pick up Matt Ryan. Of course, the quarterback carousel continues in Indianapolis from Luck to Brissett to Rivers, so on and so forth. Carson Wentz. Yeah. Here we are at freaking Matty Ice. And I think he gives them the same stability that Phillip Rivers gave them, what they're looking for in that veteran quarterback. But I actually think he gives them more ability at this stage in his career than Rivers was able to give them. You like what I did there? So
I did.
More than anything, it's the Titans weakening to me and the Colts looking a little stronger. They lost A.J. Brown to the Eagles last season. Derrick Henry's coming back from a Lisfranc injury, which is some tearing of the ligaments in the foot. And I actually read up on an interesting study that says there's a big significant decrease in performance for players coming back from Lisfranc. So if Henry's not King Henry, the Titans are not beating the Colts for the division. So with all those things being said, I like the Colts to take the AFC South this season.
I agree with you. I like the Colts to take the AFC South as well. And mostly because I don't really know too much about this Titan teams this year. I feel like Tannehill has actually been regressing last season. He had more interception last season than the last two seasons before that. So he's getting a little bit worse there. Like you said, no A.J. Brown. And they've got a really rough schedule. Weeks 9 through 13 are particularly tough. They got the Chiefs, Broncos, Packers, Bengals, and Eagles. A lot of those are away games as well. And like you said, the Colts upgraded their quarterback. They've got Matty Ryan that should provide more stability and ability, as you say. And they did. They bolstered up an already really good defense. They were top 10 in DVOA last year. They added cornerback Stephen Gilmore, who's amazing, and Jonathan Taylor. He's the best running back in the league, especially if King Henry, like you said, might not be 100% coming back from injury. So I'm going to agree with you and take the chalk on this one as well.
And the last note I have here is Tannehill ? So you nailed that.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the Colts win total then. That is set to 9.5. Pretty high. You're taking this over at minus 135 or the under at plus 115. Of course, all odds via Caesars Sportsbook.
Yeah, I have to take the over 9.5 here because it feels like it should have hit last season. I just mentioned they lost the last game of the regular season to the Jaguars, which made them miss the postseason, and they finished 9-8. Well, in my book, that should be 10-7. So I'm basically betting what I think should have already happened. The Titans won the division last year at 12-5, so they overperformed. But if we're saying that we believe in a step forward for the Colts and a step backward for the Titans, then I'm just doing basic math here. That equals Titans win more than 9.5 games. So I'll take the over on this one.
I'm agreeing with you. I am taking the over as well for all the reasons that you just said. And let's think about why they didn't win that last game. That was Carson Wentz's problem, and they don't have that problem this year. I do think that Matt Ryan is going to be a lot better, and it's a big prove-it year for him too. So I'm excited to see what happens. I thought that Carson Wentz, I mean, look, he had beyond that last game, he had a decent season with the Colts last year. However, I do think that it's a huge step up with Matt Ryan. So I'm looking forward to them getting those 10 wins as well. Okay, we talked about it a little bit with the Titans maybe not being as strong this year. They are also set at 9.5 for their win total, the over at plus 120 and the under at minus 140. What do you think?
Man, they put some juice on that under at minus 140. So with those odds, I probably won't bet it. I don't like betting, especially futures. Like, we want something fun and, to ride out the whole season. Plus money, you're not going to get me to bet a win total at minus 140 on either side, really. But I will say, for an official prediction, I think they'll finish 9-8 and go under by the hook. Mike Vrabel is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL, and he always has his team ready, and he comes with the trickery and mind games that he learned from the Bill Belichick school. So I do love me some Mike Vrabel, but because, like you mentioned, they won the division last year, their schedule is so tough. I was going to make a point to this, and you already did. I mean, like, everyone in there, you see everyone in your division twice. So that's the Colts twice. We feel like the Colts are going to be better than them this year. And you talked about it. Some of these teams, some of them away games, Bills, Raiders, Chiefs, Broncos, Packers, Bengals, Eagles, Cowboys. That's brutal, man. So look, and with my question marks about Tannehill and Henry's injury, I can't predict that they'll win more than 9 games. So I'll predict under, but you're not going to see me go to the window with this minus 140. No, thank you.
Yep, I agree with you. I'm not going to the window with this either. However, I am going to lean on the under. And like you said, I think Vrabel is probably the best coach that has come from Bill Belichick of all of them that are now infiltrating the NFL. And he is a winner. And so I don't want to count him out. But again, too many question marks. Tannehill has been regressing. We just talked about it. They lost A.J. Brown. And their schedule is super, super tough. And we don't know about King Henry. So I'm going to lean on this under as well. Okay, let's talk about the Jaguars now. They're set to 6.5. The over is at plus 115. The under at minus 135. Do you think there's a better year ahead for Sunshine?
I do. And I got to make a bold call somewhere here, right? So far, I've gone with the chalk. Give me the over 6.5 at plus 115. Look, the Texans are going to be the worst team in the league. And I can make that
I agree.
With all certainty.
You don't even need to explain. Yeah.
No, say less. Exactly. The Texans are good. So I'm going to say the Jaguars beat them twice. That's 2 wins there. You got to find 7 wins on the schedule if you want to bet this with any confidence, right? But look, they added Christian Kirk, and he's going to, they paid him a lot, but he's going to be a nice addition for a downfield threat for Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, as you affectionately called him, and looked out for Laviska Shenault as well. Sneaky good receiver. So I'm expecting in year 2, like you just alluded to, for Sunshine to take a step up, as many good young players do in their second year. And more than anything, the Jaguars defense is going to be good. That linebacking core is scary. Devin Lloyd in there and Josh Allen, that combo sounds vicious. So look out for them playing some stingy games. I bet you they get some surprising wins on the back of that defense. They finish 7-10 and we win a plus money bet. I'm going to go bold. I say Jaguars find a way to win 7 games and this somehow goes over.
That is bold, and I cannot get on that sinking ship with you. So since 2012, the Jags have only had one 10-win season. The highest win total outside of the 2017 was 6 wins, and that was back in 2019. So they had a decent draft, and I definitely think that Lawrence should progress. And they don't have Urban Meyer anymore, which was, a train wreck in and of itself. And I just really don't think he cared about the team and certainly wasn't about fostering that young talent. But if I look at their schedule, Danny, it is rough to start. They've got the Commanders, they've got the Colts, the Chargers, the Eagles. 3 of those games are away games, so they could start really, really low to start off this season. So I'm going to take this under just because it's the Jaguars and they just don't get over 6 wins.
That beginning of the season does not sound good. So, if you're going to go bet this, you're going to do it with a pit in your stomach to start the year.
Yes.
However, that was a point I didn't make that you just touched on. Thank you for doing that. Changing from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson is good for at least 2 wins in my book alone, right? Urban Meyer's got, you were talking about who's the best coach to come out of the Belichick tree. Now you got me thinking, is Urban Meyer like one of the, is he the worst head coach of all time? He was, that was a train wreck.
Worst NFL coach of all time. He did pretty decently, of course, in college. But
for sure.
Yeah, but there's always there's always drama that surrounds him. And last year I just thought when he didn't get on the plane with the players and the whole thing with the girl at his restaurant.
When he kicked his kicker, what a jerk. This guy's horrible.
Right. And I don't think the team wanted to play for him. And so I think we're going to see something different. So, all right, fine. You're going to the window with this, maybe with a pit in your stomach. I am laying off this, but going to lean under. So you called the Texans the worst team in the NFL, and I agree with you. So their win total is set to a low 4.5. Do you think they get over, or they get actually 5 wins at plus 100 for the over and the under at minus 120? You're not taking the over on this.
Someone's got to be the class clown, right? We got to have a village idiot. And unfortunately, it's going to be the Houston we have a problem Texans. There's no way. They're not going to win 5 games. Davis Mills surprised us last year because we were expecting nothing from him. And then we got an athletic guy who can move in the pocket, make some flashy plays. He was on top 10 a bunch of times. So I was like, Davis Mills, but he has no weapons around him. Brandon Cooks, and that's it. I don't know if most people could name more than those 2 players on the Texans, even avid football fans. So, there's just no weapons in that arsenal to win football games in the NFL. They'll win a couple, but I say they finish 3-14.
Yeah, I mean, look, they only won 4 games last season. 2 of those were against the Jaguars, and I think we just talked about how we think the Jags are going to be a little bit better. I don't think that the Texans sweep them this year. They might not even get a win against them this year. If you look at their schedule, week 1, they're going against the new look Colts. That's an easy win for the Colts. And then they go on the road for a couple of games. They also have an early bye week, which might hurt them. And they've got a lot of drama surrounding their organization as well with the whole Deshaun Watson stuff and how Houston was actually maybe involved in some NDA stuff. So I feel like it's just a bad look for them this year. And I agree with you. Maybe just 3 wins. Okay, the time has come. Let's get into Mox Locks, where Danny and I give you our best bets for the MLB slate tonight. And first things first, I am looking at the A's. I'm taking the A's money line versus the Los Angeles Angels. Is that minus 125. So the A's are looking to have a big bounce back here. They got swept by their Bay Area rival, the San Francisco Giants, this weekend. And they've got lefty swerving Cole Irvin on the mound tonight. And he's been actually pretty solid at home this season. Currently 4-2 in 6 starts in Oakland. The Angels are just not very good for a lot of reasons, and we like to talk about on the show quite a bit. They are 6-13 in their last 19 against a left-handed starting pitcher, which we know Swervin Irvin is. They have a 10-25 record on the road this season. Not great, and they went 2-8 versus divisional opponents in July. So they're just slumping in a lot of different categories here, and they've got Jose Suarez on the mound tonight, who I don't really have a ton of faith in, guys. He is just 1-2 in road starts this season. Danny, what do you think?
I like backing the A's when Cole Irvin's on the mound. Aside from a couple bad starts, his numbers have been really good, and he's very consistent. So here at home, look, I have no confidence on the Angels. They're on my no-bet list. I lost a couple of on them, and that was it for me. So just, all the times we've made fun of them, their record is even worse than when we were making fun of them somehow. So, look, if you're going to back the Athletics, do it with Irvin at home. I see it tonight. Let's go, Katie. A's money line.
Okay, let's go. What's your first bet for the night?
All right, I'm taking a look at the Mets game. They're taking on the Reds here. I'm going to go with a player prop, and that's their starting pitcher, Chris Bassett. I think he'll have over 5.5 strikeouts tonight. The line is set kind of low. They put some juice on it. It's about minus 135, but I think it's going to hit. I'd say he gets 7 or 8. You look at the guy, he's been the model of consistency. He goes deep in games. And the Reds strike out in top 5 most strikeouts in the league. They're going about almost 9 times per game. So the bats were super quiet in their series against the Marlins. And I think Bassett is exactly the type of starter to give them a good start here in this spot, fan some guys, and probably pick up a very easy win for the Mets. So I'm just seeing a very dominant spot for Bassett today. Just get it done. Give me his over strikeouts at minus 135.
I actually love this bet, and I was looking at Chris Bassett over his strikeouts as well because, like you said, it's set to 5.5, which to me seems like a kind of a low number. He's averaging 6.1 strikeouts on the season so far, and at home that bubbles up to 6.8 strikeouts. So that 5.5, that looks really good to me. However, I started looking at how many innings this guy pitches, and I'm taking him over 18.5 outs recorded, slightly better odds at minus 104. So he has pitched at least least 6 innings, which is 18 outs in each of his last 8 starts. He's actually exceeded 6 innings in 6 of those 8 games. The Reds, like you said, have the 4th highest strikeout rate in July with 259 team Ks. So I think he's going to go over the 6 innings. It's a little bit better odds. I like both of these bets, but I'm going to take Chris Bassitt over 18.5 outs recorded at -104.
I love that. And he's shown that depth, that consistency time and time again. And like you said, he kind of turns it up at home. The strikeout rate goes up. The Reds been whiffing like no other. So that all combines to me to say that he should go 7+ in this one. So I really like your bet here. I'm going to tail this one.
Let's cash on both of those. All right, what's your last bet for the night?
All right, I'm going to go with an under. I claim to be the king of the under, so I got to cash this one for you. It might be a scary one based on the pitchers you see on paper, but trust me, the market says play it. I'm looking at the Blue Jays-Orioles game, and I'm going to go with the under 9.5, -115 here on Caesars. The reason I like it more than the guys pitching on paper is because of the money action. When you look at it, their ERAs don't look great, so a lot of people are going to go and bet the over purely based on that. But looking further into the game, Jordan Lyles, the pitcher for the Orioles, has had some sort of renaissance in his career. All of a sudden, he's unhittable out of nowhere. He was a guy that I would auto fade last year, and now he's a quality pitcher, stupefying the Yankees and all sorts of these good teams. So Lyles has been good. He's been even better at home. Orioles are home here. Yusei Kikuchi going for the Blue Jays. He's been not great, up and down here and there, but I think he's a veteran guy that can get out. So at 9.5 here with everybody on the over, but actually a surprising amount of money and sharp action on the under, which makes it look super flip-flop, like all those public bets on the over and all that sharp money and significant money on the under. It's the last signal I need to take the under and go against what most bettors are doing. I think this one stays more low scoring than people expect. So give me the under 9.5 in Jays Orioles.
I love it. Fading the public and following the sharps. Usually that works out for us. Okay, to recap, Mox Locks. I'm taking the A's money line versus the LA Angels at -125. I'm also taking Chris Bassitt over 18.5 outs recorded at -104. Danny is also on Chris Bassitt over 5.5 strikeouts. That's at -135. And he's also taken the Blue Jays Orioles under, the king of the under. That's set to 9.5. That's at -115. Okay, Danny, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And before we get out of here, don't forget to follow us on social media. It's at Moxie Bets or me at Katie Mox on Twitter, at Katie Mox Bets on Instagram. This has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesars Sportsbook. We'll see you Wednesday.